We're in Avalon, Mississippi. This is July 4th, 2006, and the Mississippi John Hurt Gospel Festival and Blues Festival has just concluded here. I'm talking with Mary Hurt, who's the granddaughter of Mississippi John Hurt. And Mary has started a blues foundation in her grandfather's honor. Mary, when did you do that, and how did you happen to do that?
Well, actually, it's kind of like more of a revelation than anything else, because although as a child, I watched my grandfather play music, and my family's very musically inclined. I don't happen to be one of the persons that have any musical talent at all. And I guess it was late 1997 when I began to have just flashbacks of just visions of that cabin where my grandfather used to live in the field. And I would say for, oh God, about 2 years it just really hounded me. 1 or 2 nights a week, I would think about that house and could not understand the connection that that house had to me, because I definitely had no vision of ever coming back to Mississippi. Definitely to pursue music, you know. Though I've always felt the need to work with children. I knew that was what God would have me to do. So, but I just couldn't see the connection with that cabin and what I was doing currently. And in the latter part of 1997, I was just so bothered by this place, and it just really haunted me. It was more like, gosh, what is this? And one night I told my husband, I said, you know what, I'm going to go to Mississippi, and I'm going to find out who owns this house. Because I would say for the last 40 years that house has been vacant. Since my grandfather moved away in 1963, no one had ever lived there. You know, although people would, when we lived in Avalon, we would constantly, when we were growing up, someone was always coming by looking for his grave or where he lived or whatever. But the Avalon that I knew as a child no longer exists. It was probably about 50 or maybe 60 families that lived in Avalon when I was growing up. And there are no signs of any houses ever being there anymore, with the exception of Miss Amy Cook, who has a house that used to live across the road from us. But her house is the only single house there that I can remember as a child, and the cabin that my grandfather lived in. So, and my vision to come back to Avalon was never to be that, so just cotton fields. So that particular weekend, I decided to just really see what this was all about. And I took the train down to Mississippi, and I called Mr. Bailey, who watches my house here, and told him I was going to be in Greenwood, and would he please drop my truck off for me. And my mom was alive at the time. She used to live next door to me. And my mom was very ill, so I would always, there's nothing for me to come down, just to come straight to my mom's house. But that day I didn't. I stopped at the local drugstore and picked up a disposable camera. You know, and so I normally just take pictures. I have a million pictures, I bet you, of that same cabin. And when I was taking pictures of the house, and someone drove up behind me, which wasn't highly unusual, because someone was always coming. And I remember saying aloud to myself, God, I wish I knew who owned this house. And the person behind me said to me, why? And I didn't turn around to see who was talking. I just very nonchalantly said, because. And he said, why? I go, well, for one thing, my grandfather used to live here a long time ago. He said, your granddad? I go, yeah, a long time ago he used to live here. And he said, if you knew who owned this house and who owned this land, what would you do with this house? And I thought, I'd probably make a museum out of it. He said, a museum? I go, yeah. He said, it's yours, and I own it. And I turned to him, I go, do you know me? He goes, no. I said, did you know my granddad? He goes, no. I didn't know your granddad, nor do I know you. but God told me you were going to be here today. And I looked at him like, he goes, I sold all of this land around here. And God told me that I need to save this house for the family. I don't know why. I don't know the connection. I don't know anything. But I know I had to be obedient to God. And I said to him, I go, well, how much do you want it for? He goes, $5,000. I go, $5,000? I mean, it wasn't a whole bunch of money, but certainly I didn't have $5,000. I'm like, okay. So I go, okay, fine, no problem. And he told me he owned a local store in Carrollton. So I got in my truck, and I drove to Carrollton. I didn't come to my mom. And I went to the local bank in Carrollton. And my maternal grandparent, where the cabin is now, Jerry Richardson, bought some property in 1921. And I went to this bank where my grandfather who had gotten this loan, and I asked to speak to the president of the bank, Mr. Pate Shackelford. And I said to Mr. Pate, I said, Mr. Pate, I need some money. And he goes, you need some money? I go, yeah. I need $5,000. I go, I want to buy, it doesn't mean anything to anybody. Here's this little house, it's filled with hay and wasses, and I just want to buy a piece of myself back. He goes, where is this place? And I said, it's a house on T.R. Road, it's filled with hay and it's all covered with weeds. And he goes, you mean the old John Hurt house? I go, yeah. I go, did you know my granddad? He goes, oh yeah, I knew old John, of course I did. And he said, you know, Mary, I can't give you $5,000 today. He said, but you come back tomorrow morning, I'll have your check ready for you. And I felt great. And I left, and the next morning I was so excited to get this check and to get, you know, to buy this house. And I was just, I could visualize it sitting there where it was. And I picked up the check from the bank, and where the store, Mr. Dave Murphy, the store owner, the guy who owned the land, was only just a few blocks from the bank. And I walked there. And he saw me coming, and he met me at the door, and he sadly told me, he said, Mary Frances, I'm very sorry. I can't sell you the house. I'm like, what do you mean you can't sell me the house? He goes, because the people that own the land now, who built these big houses there, said they are already disturbed enough. People are coming from every place, and they just don't want, if you refurbish that house, they're going to be even more disturbed. However, if you move it, I'll give it to you. I'm like, you'll give it to me? But how am I going to move a house? That's so, I mean, I was crushed. I was just devastated. Because I was so excited. I couldn't sleep the night before, visualizing how I was going to fix this place up. I could just see it. And I was so crushed. And then, at that point, I drove back down to my mom's. And when I got there, she was not, I think she might have been in the bathroom with her phone ring. And it was a friend of hers. And there's 14 of us, so anybody, all of us always out and in and out because my mom was sick. So she said, which one of any girls are these? And I told her it was Mary Frances. And she goes, why you sound so disgusted? I've never heard you be this rude. I said, I'm sorry. I just was very disappointed about something that happened. And she goes, it can't be that bad. And I went on to tell her the story. And she's like, oh, that's not a big deal. She goes, I used to know somebody who moved houses. And she said, let me just check. And she called me back in about 10 or 15 minutes. And she gave me a telephone number.